Okay, everybody, let's talk about decomposition. What we're talking about in decomposition is we're really discussing basically how to take a big thing and break it into smaller parts. And there's three concepts with decomposition. One is procedural and one is object orientation. So let's talk about decomposition as a general thing. Come on, slide. You want to move. There it is. Decomposition is really, like I said, the process of dividing an extensive app into smaller parts. We break like a mobile banking app into many components. The first step is to break things into modules. We call that modularization. It's just basically saying like how does this thing look? What are the little parts that are doing different things? Structural decomposition is a process that identifies the hierarchy of building blocks and then that make up that program concept. You can use a top-down approach. You can label nodes. In decomposition, we're not worried about sequencing because we're just talking about the parts that make up the whole. And this is an example of breaking down a mobile banking app. For example, we have secure login, we have challenge questions, we have account management, we have payments and transfers, and all these things have different processes involved, like two-factor authorization and fingerprint sign-in. And you can see how we would break that down structurally. All right, functional decomposition or procedural decomposition is processes that break down modules into smaller processes. I didn't mean to do that. I mean to do, well, I guess that's not going to work. Hold on a second. Well, to let you guys know, I was trying to move myself, and that didn't work, so neither can you there. I'm going to mess with the camera later. But either way, functional decomposition breaks out the bigger functions and smaller functions. If you're diagramming with functional decomposition, you're going to label nodes with verb phrases, and you're going to sequence them left to right. This is that functional decomposition diagram. I'm not going to walk through all of this. If you want to pause the video and look at it, you can. All right, object-oriented decomposition is looking at things from an object-oriented perspective, and basically we're doing things like discussing like which objects make up this particular app. Objects can represent people, places, or things. Really, they can represent anything you want them to represent, but you can even take processes and visualize them as a thing. So if you have like a process that is a deleter tool, you can call it the deleter, and now it is a thing. And the tips for this is just give node titles nouns, attributes or nouns, methods or verb phrases, and you sketch in connections to show how the objects share data. And this is an example of how this looks from an object-oriented standpoint. You have a login screen, valid user, and pin generator. The goal is, when you're working with object orientation, the goal is to minimize dependencies. So we want to make sure that that if we change one thing, it doesn't impact objects around the program. And you want to maximize cohesion, and that's simply that each object contains attributes that perform a single logical task that does a single thing in your program. All right, so that's all for now. We'll see you in the next lesson.